This enclosure had 58 eggs originally. It's a pretty busy happening enclosure tonight. We have a lot of them. Not a lot, but multiple caterpillars right around the door. Now this enclosure is a more expensive enclosure that has this added piece of fabric here, and it's supposed to make it so the caterpillars don't climb on the zipper, because the zipper is on the outside of that piece of fabric. So even if they're on that piece of fabric, they still don't end up being on the zipper. So I really love these enclosures for that purpose. We also have the big 5th instar there. We have 1 and J right above the door. And there's one that I think is preparing to molt there as well. So I've got to take all of these caterpillars out of the enclosure so that I can clean the enclosure. Sometimes it can get a little complicated when you have caterpillars on more than one leaf. I did check the back of this leaf before I cut there, just so you guys are aware. You always want to check behind to make sure that there's not a caterpillar on the back of whatever you're about to cut, because you will feel really bad if you cut a caterpillar in half. This guy just kind of fell off his leaf, but didn't actually fall. I'm trying to pick him up, but he's kind of flailing. There's a lot of them on this one. I'm not counting these caterpillars. I'm just checking leaves and removing caterpillars so that I can clean the enclosure. And I'm trying to do this fairly quickly because when you have caterpillars out of the enclosure, there's always a chance they're going to wander off and get lost and not get put back in the enclosure. They could like fall off the table or climb underneath the table. So I'm trying to go through this pretty quickly. There is a caterpillar in there. We do have one on the bottom of the enclosure. Let me see if I'll be able to pick him up or if I'll need to. Yeah, he's holding on. No, here he comes. Come here, bud. Okay. Alright, that is it. All that's left is a whole lot of frass and very small pieces of leaves. There are not any very small caterpillars in here. Let me grab my broom and dustpan. Sweep up this frass. And what I'm going to do is just take this whole thing and stick it in the enclosure. I'm going to pause the video to do that. Okay, look at, oops, sorry buddy. Look at all of those caterpillars. I accidentally put my finger on this guy's behind. Alright, so I am going to start placing some branches in here. I think I'm going to cut some of these in half so that they'll fit better. Making sure that I'm not pressing branches up against caterpillars that are preparing to molt, because I don't want them to get squished and stuck in their skin. I do want to put a good amount of milkweed in here, because because there are a lot of caterpillars. Alright, so I think that's probably enough. I think maybe I'll put one more in here though, just to be on the safe side. There is a seed pod here. Does already have a little hole, so I'm not going to put it in because it might have insects living inside of it. Okay, there we go. They have a ton of fresh food now.